Welcome back to another episode of Motivation Mondays. Pew, 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 pew. I hope you had a wonderful week last week, and let's get into this week's motivation. Okay, so this week is going to be a part 2 of last week's topic on the book The Body Is Not an Apology. So last week we were mostly, looking inward, right? How has this capitalist society affected how we look at ourselves, right? How has it robbed us of the joy of appreciating ourselves in our entirety instead of chopping ourselves up into the little pieces that are marketable and socially viable, while ignoring and trying our level best to hide the parts of ourselves that don't fit the current status quo. And I really hope that you had a week where you spent time appreciating the little things about yourself, regardless of whether other people find value in it or not. And if not, I hope you continue to do so this week, that you try to find different parts of yourself that you enjoy, right? As you put lotion on your body after you bath, take the time to really admire your body. Feel what your skin feels like in your hand. Look at your legs. It's like, oh yeah, I grow really nice leg hair. Shout out to me. Shout out to my body for trying to keep me warm and trying to make sure that I don't succumb to the environment around me, that I will never overheat or freeze to death thanks to these little hairs right here. As you slowly move up your body, you can appreciate your fupa. And you're like, you know what? I spent a lot of time hiding you, but you feel so soft. So soft. And if there's ever a famine, I know I've got this little sack of fat right here that'll keep me going. And I'll be able to fight for myself during the zombie apocalypse. I don't know. Who knows? Who knows? What if fupas are nature's fanny packs full of all the nutrients we need in preparation for the upcoming zombie apocalypse? Until the time comes, we'll never know. So appreciate yourself in the meantime. And then, your chest and your arms and all those little bits, just find one thing. Spend your time looking for one thing to appreciate every day. As you interact with people and you notice people smile or laugh, take a mental note of that. Don't brush it off and be like, oh, well, people just be laughing. No. They laughed because you're funny. They came and approached you because you have an inviting aura about you. There's something about you that draws people in. Even if somebody tells you that they find you intimidating, take pleasure in the fact that your presence is so large and so regal, even that some people might feel lesser than in your presence unintentionally, right? It is just them and the fact that your confidence and your brilliance shines so bright that some people might need some time to adjust. You know what I mean? And they might then call it intimidation when really it's the fact that they've never met someone as amazing as you. A certain level of delusion goes a long way. And I really hope that we continue to strive for just a level of self-confidence, a level of self-assurance, a certain level of self-trust, right? That you trust yourself enough to represent yourself well. That who you are inside and out in every variation is a good person. All parts of you are good, right? And you may not be good for that person. You might not be good for that situation, but it does not mean that you are not good. It just means that that pairing is not good and that you are able to identify that and either readjust or reassess the relationship. right? Your relationship with that space or that relationship with those people. I've definitely been in toxic work environments where I have worked myself to the bone to prove to people that I'm good enough, that I'm worthy of being there. And it didn't work. It didn't work because I too didn't believe it, right? If I really believed that I was good enough, that I was amazing, then I would have known that these bitches didn't deserve me and that all I needed to do was leave and find people who would appreciate me. But by virtue of me wasting my time trying to convince idiots that I am amazing, it proved their point. Do you get what I mean? So I really hope that we take the time to really invest in seeing our own greatness instead of investing our time into convincing other people that we're great. Those who know what greatness is will identify it on sight. They will know what you are when they see you being your true self. By you hiding bits of yourself that you think are not good enough, you deny everyone the opportunity to commune with you fully. You deny everyone the opportunity to bask in your greatness. You deny yourself the opportunity to witness your greatness in action. And that's not something we're going to stand for anymore. We're not about that life. It's 2023 and we are not hiding anymore. We're not hiding our bodies. We're not hiding our opinions. We're not hiding our personalities. We're not hiding anything. It's a take it or leave it situation this year. They either take all of you or they leave all of you. And you understand that no matter what, you will not leave yourself behind. And that then goes into this week's topic, which is the outward representation of, this capitalist system and how it affects how we move and how we interact and how we take care of ourselves, right? Not just in the internal conversation of what we decide or what we deem as valuable and our self-worth, but now in the era of self-care, self-love, and all of these things, that again, with the capitalist perspective, you find that self-care is very performative, right? It is this horse and donkey show of, products and self-help books and girls' trips and all these things that require money, that require you parting ways with your hard-earned money in order to perform some form of self-care. Now, what that says to us is that if you cannot afford these things, then you cannot afford to take care of yourself, that you're not deserving of self-care and self-love because you need to be of a certain tax bracket to even then, have the freedom to consider taking care of yourself, which is absolutely wrong. Self-care can be something as simple as leaving a task for tomorrow and just acknowledging that you're tired, right? As someone who works 10 hours a day, 6 days a week, who barely has time for a hobby, I am slowly working on building those boundaries with the people around me and with myself to constantly remind myself, hey, you matter. You don't have to give this time to someone else because they're asking for it. You matter too. And you already don't have that much time in your day for yourself. And we are currently working on carving out that time, be it through just taking 3 mindful breaths. Mindfulness and meditation doesn't have to be a whole 10-minute or half an hour affair in a quiet room. And obviously it's all wood and bamboo and there's a gong in the background and it's a whole thing. No, it can be 3 mindful breaths in the bus, in the taxi, in the car on the way home or on the way to work. Self-care can be insisting on having your lunch and not working through your lunch. Understanding that this company is not going to fall apart. This organization is not going to suddenly crumble just because you needed to take a lunch break, right? Self-care can be journaling at the end of the day to get all your feelings out. And all you need is a pen and a paper, and you sit in your bed, and for 2 minutes you just write and get everything off your chest. Free yourself of the day's feelings so that you can start the next day renewed and refreshed. Self-care can be saying no more often instead of saying yes, and acknowledging that maybe you're a people pleaser and taking the time to investigate where that comes from, and then being kind to yourself as you slowly work to undo the chokehold that being a people pleaser has on you and your life. You know, self-care can be just something small, like having a conversation with your friend, calling and reaching out to people who love you and who you love, and spending more time reveling in that feeling. So it doesn't have to be an expensive performative show. It can just be spending more time appreciating yourself, spending more time loving on yourself, and just being more mindful in how you speak to yourself and how you allow, this conscious part of you and subconscious part of you to treat yourself. You know what I mean? When you catch yourself having a negative thought, stop it and say, no, fuck you, fam. I know where that voice comes from. That voice is the voice of the person who bullied me in high school. That voice is the voice of my mother who never missed an opportunity to express her, disappointment in my achievements, in my body, in my whatever, right? Identify where that voice is coming from and tell that person, you're a liar, you ain't shit, and I'm not listening to you anymore. And you might have to say it a few times before it finally sticks, but say it again and again and again and again and again until you don't have to say it anymore, because you're worth it. You're worth the work and the effort that it takes to have peace of mind. You really are. And so what if maybe someone else is a little uncomfortable or displeased that you're no longer, the eager beaver that you used to be? So what if now at work they're saying, well, your performance has really dipped and da 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 da. You have a legitimate reason for why you've chosen to take on less work, why you've chosen not to overextend yourself anymore. Your legitimate reason is that you matter and that you deserve rest. That's the legitimate reason, and you can express that. You can say, well, I realize that I've been working through my lunches and working long hours, and number one, you don't pay overtime. Number two, my health has been negatively impacted by me extending myself to this extent. And in order for me to continue in this job, in this life, in order for me to be able to have a full and well-balanced life, I've had to set certain boundaries in place. So it is either A, you pay me more so that I can afford the things I need to do to recover from the amount of work that you are demanding of me, because right now you don't pay me enough to be putting myself through all this strain. And B, the law protects me when it comes to being able to take lunch. And everyone here, including myself, has been in violation of labor laws by not taking that time to eat my lunch and to have a break, a mental break. And that as much as, yes, I may be not producing at the same quantity of work, I believe that the quality of my work has improved because I am able to give each item the time and care necessary to execute it at a level that I am proud of. So maybe it's practicing those sort of conversations in the mirror. But just because you don't have the latest hair product or face cream and serum combo, and you don't have a bath, so you can't even, buy the bath bombs and, take that little selfie with the bubble bath all over the place, that is fine. Even if you wash out of a bucket, you have the time to take care of yourself. That is fine. You don't need to have a huge, lavish, bathroom and set up a camera and record yourself. You don't have to post taking care of yourself. It doesn't mean that because nobody saw you do it, that it's not happening. A lot of real, sustainable self-care comes from the hidden internal work that we do with ourselves. It comes from maybe distancing ourselves from people who do not add joy to our lives, who do not celebrate us in the way that we need to be celebrated, who do not affirm us in the way that we need to be affirmed, that when you express a need, that they're not there to meet that need, right? And that can be difficult because it means that you will be the villain in somebody else's story, that you will be the bad guy. And it's going to be difficult, especially if you're a people pleaser, right? Especially if you care a lot about what people think about you, which I mean, as a human, don't we all care about how people think about us, right? We all want to be considered as, good people. We want people to think fondly of us when they do think of us. But unfortunately, that's not possible. If you are busy pleasing everybody else, then you're disappointing yourself and you're neglecting yourself because someone is going to be unhappy. And in your pursuit of other people's praise, you have disappointed yourself and you've neglected yourself. And we're not about that anymore. We're in the pursuit of our own joy, peace, and safety. Because you can't really, give yourself a moment to rest and, be mindful and all of those wonderful things if you don't feel safe. So what steps do you need to take to ensure your mental and emotional safety in the spaces that you enter? How far are you willing to go to ensure your safety? Think about your inner child and what they would have wanted from the adults around them to ensure that they were mentally and emotionally safe. And that now that you are in the position of the adult, what are you doing to protect yourself? What are you saying? Because for me personally, I work with kids. And I struggle to speak up for myself, to just express my needs with my full chest. It's something I've always struggled with. But when it comes to my kids, I do not care. I will fight dragons for those kids because I know that they're precious. I know that they cannot stand up for themselves. And I want them to be safe. I need them to be safe. It is my job to keep them safe. And I do my job well. But it is also my job to take care of myself. And I am openly admitting that I am not doing that job well. I'm failing at that job dismally. And I'm trying every day to be better at it. But a good way to think about it is that there is still a child that lives in me that is waiting to feel safe, that is tired of being scared, that is tired of being neglected and looked down upon and just forgotten. And I have forgotten about her. I left her in the corner and told her I'm coming back just now, and I never came back. I am the dad that went out for cigarettes and never returned. So I need to do a lot of work to build that trust back up with myself. But I build that trust back up by doing small things, like setting boundaries to protect myself, by doing little things that ensure that I do feel mentally and emotionally safe. And sometimes it is just about, acknowledging my feelings as they come instead of suppressing them because nobody has time to be dealing with that right now. I'm too busy. Just taking 2 minutes to be like, yes, deep breath in. I feel really anxious. I'm really scared. I'm about to make a presentation and I really want to impress these people. I really hope it goes well. I think I've done everything that I can do to, be as prepared as I possibly can, but, I really hope this works out. That's fine. You can have that conversation with yourself in your head while still doing something else. You can maybe reach out to a friend and say, hey, I just need some encouragement right now. I'm about to walk into a presentation and I just need to hear that, like, I'm not going to fail, And if you have people like that in your life who are willing and able to do that, then use them as resources. Because as a good person, and you are a good friend as well, that you would be more than happy to do that for your friends, right? That if your friend needed some encouragement before doing, something scary, that you jump at the opportunity to reassure them that they are the bomb.com and that they have the Midas touch. Everything they do, everything they touch turns into gold. And this is just going to be another thing that turns into gold. So if you are able to do that for other people so effortlessly, turn that attention to yourself. Look yourself in the mirror and say, damn, you're a bad bitch. So as we go off into this new week, I need you to take some bad bitch energy into your new week. And not bad bitch energy in the performative way. I mean the quiet confidence of being a bad bitch. The confidence of knowing that those who know will know, and those who don't know don't need to know. Trust in yourself this week. Trust yourself and your ability to assess the situation adequately and either use your own skills or access the resources necessary to solve whatever problem you face. You are worth the effort it takes to live a peaceful and happy life. You are worth the effort it takes to feel safe. And that a bad bitch never shies away from hard work if it means that it makes her life better. It makes their life better. So yeah, sometimes self-care is hard work. Sometimes self-love looks like blood, sweat, and tears. Sometimes treating yourself could be something simple as having lunch while listening to your favorite music. Sometimes rest is saying no and understanding that you have enough on your plate and you need to leave room for yourself. So, let's go off into this week and just try our best to be our best for ourselves. I love you. Bye. See you next week, lovers and friends. And I'm really enjoying these. I know this is just the second one, but I've recorded a few. And I find even just, planning out the posts and thinking about what sort of affirmation and motivation and encouragement I might need for the coming weeks, and listening to my friends, what sort of encouragement they might need, that even just the exercise in expressing this out loud, just saying it and putting it out into the ether, has some sort of healing property. I go to bed and I rest easy knowing that I have invested in making my life and the lives of the people around me just slightly better. So I hope you delight in taking the time to listen to this voice note, in taking the time to listen to this podcast, because this is also you taking care of yourself. Those idle moments where you might maybe listen to a podcast where they talk about local gossip, and trust me, I'm not trashing those podcasts. I love them too. But to take the time to be like, you know what, on my morning commute, it's just a quick 20-25 minutes. My commute is just as long. I could spend that time listening to something encouraging, so that I'm not triggered by the latest news story and already sort of frustrated and stressed out by my day, but instead I'm choosing to spend my morning listening to something uplifting. So yes, thank you for listening, and we will see each other next week. This is my second goodbye, my real goodbye. I love you.